After the great flood, Noah planted a vineyard and became drunk from its wine. He lay uncovered in his tent, and Ham, his youngest son, saw his father's nakedness and told his brothers, Shem and Japheth, instead of covering him. Shem and Japheth, showing respect, walked backward with a garment to cover their father without looking at him. When Noah awoke and learned what Ham had done, he cursed Ham's son Canaan, saying, Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be to his brothers. Then from Ham to Canaan to Cush was Nimrod, a mighty hunter, warrior, and king. Nimrod, ambitious and defiant, established great cities, including Babel, where he began constructing a massive tower. This Tower of Babel served two purposes: as a precaution against another flood, a display of mistrust in God's promise, and as a religious structure dedicated to pagan worship. Nimrod set himself up as a god and openly opposed the true creator. Nimrod married a woman named Semiramis, who shared his pagan practices. However, Nimrod's reign came to a sudden end when he was killed. Some sources suggest it was by Shem or his followers, who opposed his idolatry. After Nimrod's death, Semiramis claimed divine authority and announced that she had miraculously conceived a child without a man's involvement. Familiar? She named her son Tammuz, declaring him to be the reincarnation of Nimrod. This birth allegedly occurred during the winter solstice, a time when the sun is farthest from the earth around December 25th, a significant time in pagan traditions as it marked the rebirth of the sun. The Empire of Babel was plunged into grief after Nimrod's death, but Semiramis used her cunning to consolidate power. She declared herself a goddess and proclaimed that the mother and child figure she formed with Tammuz was sacred. This narrative of the divine mother and child spread across the world, infiltrating various cultures and religions. Ancient artifacts depicting a mother holding a child predate the Christian era, pointing to the original pagan figures of Semiramis and Tammuz rather than Mary and Jesus. Over time, Semiramis deepened the idolatry by marrying Tammuz, further cementing the idea that he was the reincarnation of Nimrod. This union became the basis for the first concept of a trinity: father Nimrod, mother Semiramis, and son Tammuz. This pagan trinity laid the groundwork for many religious practices, including the traditions that eventually influenced the celebration of Christmas. Now, the real question is, when was Jesus Christ actually born? Historical evidence suggests that his birth likely occurred during the summer or a milder season, rather than winter, contrary to popular belief. The Gospel of Luke recounts that shepherds were in the fields at night when an angel announced Jesus' birth. In ancient Israel, shepherds grazed their flocks outdoors during warmer months, typically from spring to early fall. By winter, colder temperatures and rain would drive the sheep into enclosures, making it unlikely for the shepherds to have been in the fields during December. The wise men, magi, traveled from the east to visit Jesus, guided by a star. In winter, travel would have been difficult and dangerous due to harsh weather and poor road conditions. Luke chapter 2 verses 1 to 5 mentions that a decree went out from Caesar Augustus for a census, requiring Joseph and Mary to travel to Bethlehem. Historically, censuses were conducted during times that would minimize disruptions to agricultural activities and travel. Winter was impractical for a census, as harsh weather discouraged long journeys. 280 years later, under Emperor Constantine, the first so-called Christian emperor, but more of a politician than a true Christian, a Roman Christian religion emerged. To unify pagans and Christians, Constantine incorporated pagan practices into Christianity, including adopting December 25th, the pagan festival of Sol Invictus tied to Tammuz's birth, as Christmas. Today, Christmas is often associated with Santa Claus parties and gifts rather than the celebration of our Savior's birth. Now, what do you think about these ideas? Comment if you believe or disagree with me.